Howdy! Today we're looking at the Akarius Prime. I already did a video on this 2 months ago, I think. Maybe I'm just schizophrenic. Maybe I didn't do a video on it. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I did a video on it, but we're back with it. Now, the reason for that is because it's even stronger after Jade Shadows, and more importantly, I want to compare it to other explosive weapons, which I don't believe I did in the last video. Because Akarius Prime is freaking wonker spadonkers. And it is easily my favorite, like, big boom exploding weapon. So, Akarius Prime is the signature weapon of Gauss Prime. And hang on, I want to show it what it looks like at base. There we go. It is the signature weapon of Gauss Prime. They are dual-wielded, heat-seeking rocket pistols. I mean, if that doesn't sound cool to you, then I don't know what you want in life. They have a fire rate of 3.67, 8 shots in the mag, 2.4 second reload speed, high accuracy. It is a burst fire because when you shoot, both rockets shoot. Or both guns, I mean, right? Like you shoot, you pull the trigger once and then they both shoot, right? So it sort of feels like a 2-round burst. 18% base crit chance, which isn't great. 2.0 multiplier, 34% status, which is nice. 68 impact damage on the direct hit. The radial attack is 7.8 meters, 509 blast damage, and 70% fall off. Which, if you were to compare it to what is typically the most widely used explosive weapon, right, Brahma. Brahma has 8.3 meters with 90% fall off. So you actually end up getting like triple the damage at the end of the explosion with the Akarius compared to the Brahma. So that's pretty big whoa, if you ask me. On top of that, because of how rounding works with explosive, or with ammo and ammo mutation and stuff, and this weapon holds 24 in reserves and 8 in the magazine, if you use this weapon in general, but especially with ammo mutation, it has way better ammo economy than pretty much any other explosive weapon in the game. It is so very snazzy. Now, it also has a unique trait where you get 50% bonus reload speed while sprinting, and that bonus is doubled if you are Gaussed. Gussie. So, it actually ends up fixing its terrible reload speed on its own. And it also sounds cool as shit. Listen to that. And it shoots pretty fast too. Look at this. Such a big schnazzy, if you ask me. A very, very big schnazzy. So. Where to go with this? This first build here is... Here, I'll switch this out for galvanized diffusion. So the first build, which is what I typically like to use, is a heat build. Because that has some level of armor strip on its own, and heat damage is just pretty schnazzy in general. Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot, Prime Target Cracker for crit damage, Creeping Bullseye for crit chance, Lethal Torrent is more multi-shot, and fire rate, which balances out Creeping Bullseye's negative fire rate. Scorch and Primed Heated Charge for lots of heat damage, and we also get status chance from Scorch. Primed Fulmination gives us big PP explosions of 11.23 meters. Stunning Speed is here for a little bit of reload speed and status, but this is a flex slot. You can run whatever you want here. Now, we also have no base damage on this right now, but that's because we are getting 480% damage from Cascadia Flare. And then Pistol Ammo Mutation, just so we have extra ammo as well. Now, if you weren't wanting to run Stunning Speed, you could go with Pistol Elementalist. This would actually give us even more reload speed and would give us status damage. We would have less status chance, though. But it's entirely up to you, right? Like, run whatever you want in this slot. It's really entirely preference. And you'll see that it's pretty strong, because it's going to kill this stuff even though we have these two mods, right? These aren't made for damage. We have two, what is typically considered the flex slots, and it's still going to kill stuff. Nothing is affecting our damage on our Warframe, and we have no companion. So let us spawn in these level 205 Steel Path Corrupted Heavy Gunners. Now, we are going to need to build up our Cascadia Flare, because until that happens, it's not going to have like any damage. But once that's built up and the armor strip kicks in from the heat procs, it can actually do some pretty good damage, you can see. Most of them are dead now. Okay, I want to get that and then reset them before Cascadia Flare goes away. Right, give it a sec. There we go. Oh wait, yeah, that was 2 shots with Cascadia Flare. There we go, look at that. Beautiful. This is purely heat, okay? This is some pretty hefty damage if you ask me. And our ammo is always big chillin'. I literally never have ammo problems with the Akarius Prime. So you can make it even more insane if you were to add in like a companion. What I really like to do, because Cascadia Flare does have to build up, and if you stop shooting stuff for too long, you lose all your bonus damage, is running something like Nautilus, Diariga, something like that. Nautilus is the best probably because you group stuff so you can hit more with the explosion. But if you run Nautilus with Hellstrom, you can spread viral everywhere, and Hellstrom has heat on it. Because heat applied from any source in your build, be it your Warframe, weapons, or companion, will build up Cascadia Flare. So let's go back over here. I'm going to go Invis. Then I'm going to Simulate, unpause them. Come over here. We want it to... Oh, wait, I forgot. If I'm Invis, your companion doesn't attack. I totally forgot about that. That's freaking annoying. Okay, we gotta wait a second. Y'all can wait 11 seconds for the Invis to run out, right? Surely. Watch. Everybody clicks off the video immediately then. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. There we go. Start attacking them. Look, our Cascadia Flare is already about maxed out. Shabam. Maxed out Cascadia Flare. Easy as that. Plus, you know, then with all the viral procs kicked in, it's just going to pulverize everything extremely easily. Massive. Absolutely massive. I am a huge fan of this weapon. And because it's a secondary weapon, that means you can also use it when you're holding stuff. Like if you're doing Deep Archimedia or something, or like an alchemy mission generally, you gotta pick up those stupid canisters. It's not gonna force you off your weapon you're using if you're using a primary, because you're using a secondary. So you can still use the weapon if you're picking any sort of shit up that's necessary for like the objective you're doing or whatever. So that makes it a lot better. You can run corrosive if you wanted on this weapon. It is an option. I just personally vastly prefer heat. But if you were to go corrosive, I would go like Prime Convulsion. And then here, I'm actually going to probably have to take this off. Prime Convulsion, Pistol Pestilence, and then you can replace Scorch with something else, right? Because we want to get rid of Stunning Speed here, just in general, I guess. Because we're going to need base damage once we get rid of Cascadia Flare. So then we would replace this with Hornet Strike, because Galvanized Shot doesn't work because we're using explosions. So then Cascadia Flare you could replace with like secondary Merciless. The problem is I really don't like Merciless. If you were using Frost and freezing stuff, you could just go secondary Shiver. Or you could go secondary Fortifier. It's going to make it worse on general fodder, but it's going to make it so that you get a ton of Overguard from dealing damage to Eximus enemies, right? Enemies with Overguard. And then you're also going to melt the enemy's Overguard extremely fast. So this is an option. So we'll just slap that on, because I think that's honestly the most interesting way to run it. So now we shoot all these guys. You can see it's not doing nearly as much damage. We don't have our multi-shot stuff built up yet, though. This build is generally going to be much worse. It would be better if we had viral. And we do have the problem of pushing enemies away from the explosion, where so like grouping would help a lot here. Look at that. It's a bit of a yowzers. If you use it with a buffing frame, though, right, it's going to be much better. So where explosive weapons really shine is on Mirage. So this is a pretty typical Mirage build here. I'm going to be using Eclipse and Hull Mirrors. I won't be casting our Armor Strip just because we have Corrosive on right now. Reset these enemies. Simulate. Grab ammo. And now this should be much snatchier. Yes, and they're all dead. So this is... Corrosive here is probably more convenient in armor scenarios. Damn, I can't speak. Like, if you're fighting Grineer and you don't have an armor strip on Mirage, like if you ran something else other than Ophanum Eyes, I suppose a corrosive build on this would be better. But I still vastly prefer heat. Building Blast doesn't really work because we don't have enough status on the weapon and we don't shoot fast enough. Building Electric isn't really worth it either. Typically, I think the only really worth it build is going to be heat. If you want to make other stuff work, you can try, but heat just ends up being the most convenient way of building it, and also what I find to be the most effective way of building the weapon. And where? So I want to switch back to this and put on Flare again, and then show this with Mirage, right? So we'll reset these enemies. This and this. I don't have Cascadia Flare built up, but it's still likely going to one-shot. No, two-shot. Beautiful. Great weapon to pair with Mirage, right? And now, if we come back over, hang on, I'm going to show it. I already showed it before, but now I want to show it directly compared to Brahma, because that's why I said I wanted to do it at the start of the video. So, simulate these guys. I'm just going to shoot over here so it pushes them towards the center more, while I'm just building up my Cascadia Flare. There we go, Flare's built up. Now we shoot into the center of these guys. And it's going to do fairly decent damage, right? And this is a very comfortable, big explosion, actually does good damage at the end of the explosion kind of weapon and build. And now we can compare that to the Brahma, for example. Where's Brahma? Here's Brahma. I know this build looks extremely wonky on the Kuva Brahma, okay? That's because it's fucked up, and it's meant for a different weapon. So, hang on. Wait, why do I have two of it? What? What? Confused? Okay, I guess we have to fix my Brahma build real quick. I must have gotten rid of my normal Brahma build. That's depressing. Depression. Crippling oof. So we're just going to slap on pretty normal Brahma stuff, I guess. All this. Primary Merciless is the only thing that really works here. I do sometimes use Longbow Sharpshot on Brahma. I know that sounds weird, but it actually works sometimes, and it makes it melt Acolytes very effectively. So, you know, that's something, I suppose. Let's put this here, Prime Cryo Rounds, because we will go viral damage. Corrosive would probably be better, actually, to be totally honest, because we have no armor strip. That's going to do more for our damage than viral is, so we'll put corrosive instead. Because I do have a Toxin Progenitor at 35.4% on this weapon. So all I'm missing now is crit damage, and we're good to go. Shabam. I'd say this is a pretty typical Brahma corrosive build, nothing too snazzy about it. Simulate these enemies. We do not have our stacks built up. And the status on this weapon is kind of terrible. I just remembered why I don't use corrosive on Brahma. We're going to be switching to a Hunter Munitions build, which Slash and Hunter Munitions slash Viral, right? Like, that all got heavily nerfed after Jade Shadows, but it is still an option. Now, to make that really work, you're kind of going to want to get rid of Primed Firestorm, which is a yikes. We lose a lot of range for our explosive, but it's not the end of the world. So, where is Hunter Mumu? Here it is. Hunter Munitions. Take this off. Switch to this. Shabam. And then maybe slap on an ammo mutation. There we go. Very normal, viral, and slash build. My Brahma build still isn't like the best thing in the world, but look at this. We can't even build our stacks up without getting kills, and getting kills is kind of rough here. Compare that to how easily built and how convenient it is on the Akarius. It's way better than Brahma, in my opinion. I know there's going to be people who are like, your Brahma's built like ass. Yeah, I'm sure it probably is. But so I don't have the other weapon built for maximum damage either. We can even add in Longbow Sharpshot. so. There we go. Longbow's actually proccing. It's still doing some questionable damage at best. Brahma's seen better days, but it's able to kill stuff at least. Not super effectively, but it can do it. I think you get the point. I'd say Akarius is a much better option than Kuva Brahma or even like Kuvazar. But that's just my opinion. You decide for yourself. I suggest at least trying out the weapon, because it's so very snazzy, and I love it very much. That's going to be it for the video, I guess. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe. Adios.